Hi, so welcome to video 4 of our mini-series of exploring Tantric sex and the beingness that Tantric sex invites us to, rather than what we know of a physical sex. And I would like to say here that I'm not making either wrong or right. There are different flavors of everything available to us, of life and sex and being human and doing and being. There's so many different flavors, and so we can open ourselves up to other flavors of life. That's what we're here for, to experience ourselves and experience the world and experience the other in all the colours of the rainbow, all the flavours that are available to us. In the last video I shared, video 3, I spoke about masculine and feminine energies and the different meeting of them. So we explored how the feminine energy, and remember I'm not defining to woman female body form, the female energy needs to be met from the environment in, and the masculine needs support from the feminine to move all that fire, all that sexual energy from the in to the circumference. So from that well of energy to be moved, to support, to come to the rest of the body, and also then meet the other and the world around them. And that's the difference that we explored in video 3. In this video, I would like to explore with you the balancing of the masculine and feminine energies. The masculine and energy and the feminine energy have receptive, although some people call them negative, but I will call them receptive and positive poles that are the chakra system, and they reflect each other. So within us we have these masculine and feminine energies, different poles of positive and receptive within our chakras. But when we're with another, those also meet and feed and reflect. So that may feel a bit, okay, I don't know what she's talking about. So I'll just support you a little here. So the masculine, we have the base chakra, the root chakra, and that is the masculine's positive. The next masculine positive pole is the solar plexus. And then the next masculine positive pole is the throat. So for the masculine energy, this is where he or they need to be fully in tune and rhythm with, and have spent time knowing these parts of self. Very often the masculine can hold a lot of stuff in the solar plexus that maybe needs to be worked through for it to come into its fullest vibrancy, fullest power. And the same as the throat. The masculine may have things around the throat where the masculine has felt held back in what it's held back in the ability to express, especially emotionally, and in spirit as well. It's very attuned to spirit. And then of course the root, which needs to be grounded, and in the root it's about being able to walk our talk, take action, motivation, a relationship with the earth. So they're the masculine poles. If you lean more in towards the masculine, whether you have a male body form or not, then I would spend time with each of these places just by placing your hands on these places and seeing how you can move into attunement with them, and what may be in the way. You may feel that when you place your hands, some belief or emotions or restriction may come up. The feminine positive poles are the sacral, so it's just below the belly button, the heart space, and the brow. And again, for the feminine, it's very important to spend time in being and knowing and exploring these places, and what may be restricting and stopping those places from letting go, and for you really to be able to slip into those places for yourself and know yourself there. So holding the sacral as a feminine, do you really allow yourself to be there? Can you feel your awareness? Can you feel your energy? Can you feel your presence in your sacral and your heart space and your brow? So we can do that by placing our hands on them. So that's the masculine and the feminine poles, where they are positive in the masculine in the male form, and where they're positive in the feminine form. But then we also have them, we would have that within ourselves. So masculine, feminine, masculine, feminine, masculine, feminine. And the crown is oneness, when the masculine and feminine meet, entwine, become one, and there's no separation. There's a dissolving of masculine and feminine, so there is no masculine and feminine, and there's no separation. When we are with another, the male feeds his positive pole, the lingam, feeds the feminine's receptive pole, the yoni. And so it's very important, the relationship that the masculine has with their positive pole. Really, really important, because that positive pole is being received in the feminine's receptive pole. The energy then reflects that her receptive pole, their receptive pole, the sacral, then reflects into their receptive pole, their sacral. And then the masculine solar plexus, positive pole, reflects into and feeds and nourishes the feminine's receptive pole, solar plexus. And then their positive heart space feeds his or their receptive heart space. Then their or his receptive throat space feeds her, and positive space feeds her receptive or their receptive throat space. And then her or their receptive brow feeds his or their, and positive brow, feeds their receptive brow. So there's this flow, there's this dance between the positive and the receptive in the partners. And this is the nourishment and the harmony and balance that really is essential for the harmony and the balance of the masculine and feminine within ourselves, but also the harmony and balance within our relationships, which is, we can see in the world today, is so greatly missing. Where actually these energies, these positive and receptive poles, this language that is happening in our relationships, in our sex, may be coming from very unhealthy places. Maybe the feminine feels that they can't really open their heart space because of trust. So that nourishment that the masculine is not happening. So, and maybe he or they have heart wounds, mother wounds around the heart space, and so maybe they can't fully receive from the feminine's heart space. Maybe the feminine has trauma and fear around her yoni, her receptive place, so can't really receive the energy of the masculine, of the lingam into the yoni, and can't surrender to that. So there's this silent dynamics that are going on between partners beyond the physical and what we can see, that we are very, very unaware of. So simply playing with, firstly, if you are a woman, then I would spend much more time being in your feminine centers and noticing what your restrictions are, what your fears are, where you feel you can't fully be in those positive places within yourself. And also, if you are a non-gender and you lean more towards feminine, then I would spend time in your feminine. And men and the masculine, I would explore more your masculine poles. And then that's all that needs to happen, because when you can be in those centers and noticing what you're holding on, then when you come together, it's almost there's this meeting, there's this beautiful meeting where sex becomes nourishing and fulfilling, and because there's a dynamic going on, a healthy dynamic going on, and a conscious dynamic going on, where it's almost like two pieces of a puzzle have met and just start energetically singing together. And I feel this is what we are missing, not just in our relationships, but in our sexual interactions. We're so limited to the act of sex and the positions and the performance, that we are missing out on this beautiful, beautiful music that can happen when we just let go of that and move out of the way.